prego, la chiamano per una collettiva. Bleiben Sie bitte am Apparat, Sie werden für ein Konferenzgespräch verlangt. Un instant, s'il vous plaît, on vous demande pour une conversation conférence.
Pronto? Ciao Poppy! Adesso vi passo Chiara!
We're going on a tour around the world. It'll take a bit of time because the world's quite big.
È una conferenza telefonica.
It's a conference call where I give a strong spiritual thought that we can live together. When we call the zones and they answer, hello, how are you? So it's the life of a family. It's wonderful. Its aim is to help us go on a holy journey, a journey towards holiness.
Countries and regions of the world affected by war, conflict, terrorism, and violence, especially in Europe. Ukraine, Nagorno-Karabakh, in Africa, Burkina Faso, Western Cameroon, Democratic Republic of the Congo, Ethiopia, Libya, Mali, Northern Mozambique, Nigeria, Central African Republic, Casamance, Somalia, Sudan, South Sudan, the Americas, Mexico, Nicaragua, El Salvador, Haiti, Colombia, in Asia, Afghanistan, Iraq, the Korean Peninsula, Lebanon, Myanmar, Syria, Yemen, the Holy Land.
Natale con chi soffre.
Today, the warmth of the Christmas spirit makes us all feel more like a family, more united as one, more like brothers and sisters, so that we want to share everything, both joys and sorrows. Above all, we want to share the pain of those who, due to various circumstances, are suffering. Suffering can at times overcome our entire being, or occurs suddenly and mix bitterness with the pleasant moments of our day. Suffering caused by an illness, an accident, an ordeal, a painful circumstance. Suffering. If we look at suffering from a human standpoint, we are tempted to look for its cause either within us or outside of us. For example, in human malice, or in nature, or in other things. And all this might be true. But if we think only in these terms, we forget something more important. We lose sight of the fact that underlying the story of our lives is the love of God, who wills or permits everything for a higher purpose, which is our own good. And didn't Jesus himself, after inviting us to take up our cross and follow him, then affirm, those who lose their life, and this is the apex of suffering, will find it. Suffering, therefore, brings hope of salvation. So what can we say today to our friends who are struggling with pain and suffering? Let's approach them with the greatest possible respect, because even though they may not think so, in this moment they are being visited by God. Then, inasmuch as we can, let's share their crosses, which means to truly keep Jesus in our midst with them. Let's also assure them that we are continually with them, and assure them of our prayers, so that they will be able to take directly from the hand of God whatever makes them suffer, and unite it to the passion of Jesus, so that it can produce the greatest possible fruit. And let's remind them of that marvelous Christian principle of our spirituality, by which suffering that is loved as a countenance of Jesus crucified and forsaken can be transformed into joy. May this be our commitment, to share every suffering with our brothers and sisters who are suffering the most, and offer our own sufferings to baby Jesus.
Of course, I must say that was very powerful. It's only a few days away from Christmas, which is the celebration in the highest sense of joy, of warmth, unity. And to start to link up with these images, with this long list of countries where there is so much conflict, in some parts proper wars, it would seem that to celebrate Christmas may seem like sheer madness. And yet, Chiara Lubich's words, which Cristina De Carolis read so well in this video, they want to tell us forcefully that all is not lost, and that precisely in these troubles, in this pain, in a paradoxical manner, we can still find a hope to be found, to be discovered. These words tell us that everything is possible. There is some goodness that possibly makes so little noise, but it's there. And it is precisely this goodness that today we are going to see above all and get to know better from a particular point of view, that of dialogue. A dialogue which can work miracles when it is authentic. In fact, I'll tell you more. I accepted to conduct today's link up once they asked me precisely for this very reason. My name is Paolo Balduzzi. I'm a journalist, and precisely for the work I carry out, I meet people who, despite dramatic events, live some really difficult situations, and yet they don't stop. They continue to think and work for a common good, precisely aiming at this dialogue in diversity. Therefore, to continue to tell of this dialogue also through this link-up seemed to me the most beautiful thing I could do. And apart from this, all of you are here today, and I give you most welcome, and you too, who follow us through streaming from the 5 continents. You are a true testimony that this dialogue is possible. So, on this certainty, we continue on with our link-up. We say that it is Christmas, only a few days to go, and our thoughts immediately go to Bethlehem, to the Holy Land, and we could not but start from there to tell the very first story. Nes Ammim in Hebrew means the miracle of the peoples, and it's a special place located in the northern Galilee, and it was created to foster precisely dialogue and understanding among Christians, Jews and Muslims. So now try to see things from the point of view of those who live in those lands. They've been there for more than 70 years, living continuous tension, dramatic events, injustices, pain that sometimes cannot even be told. But as you will see, the Holy Land is not only this, it's much, much more. For years, the Focolare, together with many other organizations, have been working precisely on dialogue, and that is why from the 16th to the 18th of September, precisely in Ammim was held the Dare to Care for a Better Future meeting, a meeting organized by the Focolare movement in the Holy Land, and Tamara Passadelli was there to bring us this.
The idea behind this two-day meeting was to be able to create a setting, a place where people of different ethnicities and religions, and even people of other beliefs, can meet one another in order to get to know one another in a truly constructive way.
We just coming out of pandemic, Corona. Think of all the pressures social distancing has put on us. Social distancing has damaged our ability to learn to be with others. To be with others is a skill, is a capacity, is a practice. Just like language, you don't use it, you lose it. I really appreciate the word in the title, dare. It means you need to have the audacity, the courage to be able to care, which is, for me, one way to measure how much a society allows for its members to flourish, to become better human beings.
How can I be taking care of the one which is far away if I don't look at my closest neighbor? And I think that it's really important. We can't be able to speak about peace if we don't know each other. And in this country, it's important to be able to know about each other, about the culture, about the religion, and knowing about each other make all the barriers crumble down.
I think my being here is a gift from God. My presence here has helped me see how people from a different culture, and I too, are thinking about and wanting the same goal, but our methods are different. Our coming here has brought together much energy and experience and brings the goal we want to reach much nearer.
For me, of course, it's a bridge for hope. It's a bridge for getting to know people who are different than me, for fixing the world, making the world a better place for my children.
What is beautiful in these meetings is that we do not try to dialogue to see who is right and who is wrong. We try to emphasize more about what we have in common, how we could draw more from the love within each of us, how we could accept others. And each one seeks in their faith how they could accept others.
It was something very special to come for a few days to live together like Arabs, Jewish, Muslims and Christian people, to eat together, to listen, to sit in a circle together, to dance together. It gave me a lot of hope for the next years, for the next generation.
For me, especially here in the Holy Land, I have the experience of really being able to connect with others, to renew relationships with Jews, with Muslims, with the people around me, and with Christians too. It is a very enriching experience that I will never forget.
Why did we hold this meeting? Because we want to change the world. And to do so, we have to be daring. We have to dare to step out of our comfort zone and take care of others. We want to dare to care and build real relationships. And this should become a way of life. Doing this together, we can change the world.
So you've seen how important it is to really aim at relationships and making time to listen to one another. Dialogue. Certainly. The differences will be there and will remain. Maybe it will be difficult to find a point of encounter on some things, but everyone has the value to be welcome. This is the experience that we always make in many different areas, cultures, and precisely for this, now we'll move on to Great Britain. The community of the Focolari belongs to different Christian denominations, and you walk in the churches, with the churches, for a dialogue of true life. Let's go.
It was such a shock because I suddenly thought, they're Catholics. Because up until then, it hadn't occurred to me that they were Catholics. They were Christians and they were teaching me to live the gospel. But Catholics, we had prejudices against Catholics in my family. I thought, what will I say to my mum when I get home tonight? I've spent the day with Catholics.
May they all be one. Jesus' prayer for unity is at the center of the Focolari spirituality. Although the movement began in the Catholic Church, ever since the 1960s, Christians of various denominations started to live the spirituality. Leslie Ellison is from Liverpool. She's the first non-Catholic to enter a Focolari community.
What was for you the novelty as an Anglican in getting to know the Focolari movement?
The novelty. I remember going to the Focolari at the very beginning. They kept using the phrase, living the gospel. We have to live the gospel. Live it was a novelty. That was a real novelty, that the gospel was something that we had to take the initiative and live. I think over the years, what we've always had to do as non-Catholics has been to distinguish between what is the gift that the Focolari movement contains, what we call the charism. That's one thing. And what is the practices, or what are the practices of the Catholic Church, which often are the more visible aspect of the movement.
Isn't it the case that ecumenism would be fine if we stop making judgments about one another and saying that the other people need to change in order for a real ecumenical relationship to grow? And
we need space, we need time, and we need to get to know one another, and that takes time, and it takes listening. We need to listen to one another, deeply listen to one another, and then we begin to understand the differences, and maybe we will never agree, our differences will always be there, but they are of value, that those differences can be embraced. Difference is normal, we're all different from each other.
Appreciate the differences. Learn how diversity can be an enrichment. This, in essence, is the experience of the men's Focolare community in London. 2 Anglicans and 3 Catholics give an ecumenical testimony.
Jesus didn't say where 2 or more saints are gathered together, or where 2 or more Catholics, but he said he left it anonymous. He didn't specify. So, and I think that is really the experience that we have, because at a very deep level, we're united, we're one, but we still remain, I'm still an Anglican, Nino's still a Catholic, because unity isn't uniformity.
The Focolare Centre for Unity is a gathering place for the Focolare community throughout Britain, with a decades-long experience of the coming together of Christians of different denominations. Paul and Mary Gateshill live close to the centre. Mary works in the management of the facility, which is open to the religious communities in the area and also to the civil society, for example with outreach to Ukrainian families.
Yeah, so I'm Anglican, Church of England, and
I'm Roman Catholic.
Yeah, and we got married in 1979, so that's about 43 years ago.
I think, just as a premise, we would say that our experience might not be the same as many others in mixed marriages, because we choose to live within our own churches, don't we?
Yeah. I think one of the big trials in many ways was not to be able to receive the Eucharist with my children, because they were brought up as Roman Catholic, and so on a Sunday morning or whenever, I would go in one direction and they would go in another direction, which was quite painful. I have a prayer if I go up for a blessing from the Catholic priest. This hurt that I feel is the most precious thing I can offer for the unity of the churches.
So here we are, the Centre for Unity Chapel.
Yeah, this is an ecumenical chapel.
So we thought, what could we do to maintain our unity, to show our unity? And so once a week, we started here, maybe 15, 20 people, something like that, Anglicans, Catholics, a Baptist, and we had 15 minutes where we shared a reflection, sang a song, had a moment of prayer together as a witness.
When the pandemic arrived, it allowed us to not just be in this room, but actually to transmit prayers for unity throughout the world.
Now we do it online every Monday evening, and we don't know how it happens, but the word spreads and people join us from different countries. So, for example, yesterday we had people who joined us from
Malta, Brussels, Finland, Sweden,
Arizona,
Phoenix, Arizona in the USA, yes. From Russia, from all over Great Britain. Yeah. And now we have different denominations, not just Anglicans and Roman Catholics, United Reformed Church, Finnish Orthodox, Greek Orthodox, Russian Orthodox, Lutherans, Swedish Lutheran, Salvation Army. And the list is endless.
And changes every week.
Hello! What a surprise. Do come. Please come in.
It's the sense of being one family that empowers people in various parts of the world of different confessions, faith or cultural backgrounds to go beyond what might divide them.
Chiara used to talk about the rift between our churches. She called it a split. She likened it to in the mountains where there are rocks and there are like crevices between the rocks. And she said there's like a crevice between your church and our church. And that crevice needs to be filled with love. And that's where our place is, inside that crevice. And later on, I discovered that there are many crevices, because I've got many friends in the Orthodox churches, I've got friends in the Lutheran churches, I've got friends in the Reformed churches. And in a sense, we're all split from each other in one way or another. But what we have to do is to make that love between us grow to the point that we fill up these cracks So the love amongst us has to fill up the cracks. But then you realize when you move further out, the splits are not just between the churches, there are splits throughout humanity everywhere. They all need to be filled with love. So I think that the whole direction of our lives has to be a love for anything that hurts, anything that's different, anything that's not mine has to be loved and appreciated.
Amazing, these two last sentences from Leslie. To love everything that hurts, loving what is different. And then to see this incredible work that the Focolare movement carries out there to build a family beyond all differences. It's truly beautiful. So now I'm set here, not to rest, but because right next to me there is Enno, Dutch, and he's been always working in the ecumenical ambit, and he's co-responsible of the Centro Uno Center, the Secretariat for Ecumenical Dialogue of the Focolare movement. And on the 28th of November, together with Margaret Karram, President of the Focolare movement, and co-president Jesus Moran, who are right next to me here, we will see them later, and together with them and Sandra, the other co-responsible of the center, they went to the World Council of Churches in Geneva. So we would like to know a little bit more how that went. And I begin to ask you, Enno, what can you tell us? Well, what is this World Council of Churches? Yes, it's a unique expression, a very beautiful expression, because it's a place where they live, this journey, ecumenical journey of the churches day by day, and it's very important. And it brings together about 352 churches, and and there is no structure of authority at all. So you truly make an experience of synodality in the highest sense, despite its fragility. But unity grows precisely like that, from below. And it has produced important agreed documents on unity, especially agreed documents on aspects of faith and on collaboration among the churches for mission and for social development. So from what you're telling us, we understand also why Chiara immediately felt how important it was to be part of this structure, also for our friendship, for our spirituality. About this visit of the 28th, with you, what did it mean to you personally? It was a strong experience, actually. I saw that this friendship that you already mentioned, that started back in the 60s with Chiara, has acquired a new impetus, and it's become even more concrete. And it was this taking place in a moment of rather particular moment, that is the change from one general secretary from another. The present president is shown here, Jan Sauka, to Jerry Pillay, who is the new president. And I'd say also that I was kind of wondering whether it would have worked out okay, because we didn't know Jerry Pillay at all. And yet, Jan Sauka, knowing us very well, he had met Chiara, they were both amazing, and it went beyond all imagination. In front of all the hall, we were there, and all this stuff. Well, the new president said, "We want to walk ahead with you hand in hand." So it was very meaningful. So the gesture that becomes concrete is that in January we'll have an office right there in the council, in the World Council of Churches, to be even more visible, to be able to work on a day-to-day basis. So you could say that from next year there will be more work for you. Well, I'm happy with that anyway. All the best, no. Thank you. And all the best for Christmas too. And now I'll go back to the center stage, because right now one of the most beautiful moments arrives. Moments I like in the link up. The moment that brings us to your own houses, to your communities for an exchange of greetings. Well, we said that we are at Christmas, and we're talking about a kind of dialogue that is born from being within that split, filling up that void with love. So now we have three greetings, which are also three kinds of wishes that bring everything in harmony. And they come from the community of Colombia, from Dr. Habib Chirzin, a Muslim, very active in Indonesia in the building of peace, and from Vinu Aram, who is instead from India, a Hindu, is the director of the International Shanti Ashram Center. And these last two have been helpers of the community of the Focolare for quite some time. Here we go.
Hello from Colombia, a truly beautiful country, multicultural, multilingual, full of life, biodiversity, with friendly, welcoming people. Here, even in the midst of difficulties, life and a sense of family grows, thanks to committed people and communities. We're professionals who are committed to living with our people in the environments in which we work. As in the case of politics, the School of Fraternity in Cumbaya, and in our work with farmers for an integral and cultural growth in Huila. In peace building with our young peace ambassadors in Medellin. And social work in the poorest neighborhoods with our social center, Unidad, in Bogota, and in education with dialogue as a theme that goes across the board in the Sol Naciente School in Tocampia. We're young people sharing our time, skills and talents to accompany indigenous communities displaced by the armed conflict, which is still very intense in some regions. For example, more than 120 social leaders and human rights defenders have been killed this year.
We are families who see the golden thread that God has woven in our lives. There are those who work for families experiencing problems, taking in those who come with great pain and despair. As families, we engage in parishes, church groups, and voluntary work.
On the 20th November, we celebrated the 50th anniversary of the arrival of the Focolare in this country, a celebration among ourselves and with brothers and sisters from other Christian churches, and also with some Muslim friends. We're with you all. Happy Christmas.
Peace be upon you. Assalamu alaikum. It's indeed a great pleasure to me to meet all my good friends from Focolare, where I learn a lot on the friendship, on the unity, on peace and justice for all. I'm happy to mention that my first encounter with the International Interfaith Dialogue, the dialogue from word to dialogue of action in development, it was in 1976. I wish you for the best, for the future of the peace and justice and friendship in the world. Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you.
One of my favorite childhood memory was to go carol singing. With a group of children in Nagaland, in the cold weather in the mountains, we used to sing together and we used to go around. And something that stayed in my mind was joy to the world. So joy to the world, the Lord has come. And to all my brothers and sisters in the Focolare movement, Merry Christmas, and may 2023 give us an opportunity to live, I think, the call of unity that Chiara presented to us so beautifully, but also to be ready to live it concretely so that the world becomes a better place, a more peaceful place, and a place, I think, where the gifts of humanity can actually be shared.
So you've seen I was right. This marks the most beautiful moments of the link-up, because it really makes visible how we are a family, we are a community that grows. So now we're about to start the last part of this link-up. But before that, I would like to remind you that you can watch all or part of it on the YouTube channel immediately, and in the 5 languages, and then in the next few days more languages will be added. Then we invite you to keep an eye on the focolare.org website, the social media channels, both Instagram and Facebook, that you can see here on the screen, precisely so that we can go ahead and continue to dialogue together. But we can't say goodbye before we wish each other a happy Christmas, precisely as we should do. And right here in front of me, the stage has become populated with Margaret Karram, the president of the Focolare. There's also Jesus, the co-president of the Focolare. And here we are surrounded by the Gen, who are the young, the children of the movement of the Focolare. It hasn't been chosen by chance. No, it's because it's Christmas coming. It's a very special time for them. They're getting ready for very important meetings. Manuela, meetings, tell us some more.
This Christmas, we'll be thinking of Eastern Africa. In Tanzania, in Dar es Salaam, we'll have the first Gen 2 Congress for Eastern Africa. The title is Behind the Mask. It's a meeting to discover and to go into depth on our commitment to live the gospel in the light of the charism of unity. There'll be young people, animators, and also some representatives from the International Centre. And the participants will be from 13 different countries. So we greet everybody there and have a good Congress and Happy Christmas.
Truly, thank you. All the best and Merry Christmas to you. For us too, it's a special moment because here in Italy we'll have an international school with about 160 young people from different 13 countries, and everyone is really waiting for this meeting, for this school. From Serbia, they write, it's the first time we can participate in a Gen school. We'll get to know a lot of people. We'll experience peace together. While Chiara in Italian says, we can't wait to start with so many other young people from all over the world. We think this is an opportunity to grow personally, especially from a spiritual point of view in our relationship with Jesus. So we're all very much waiting for this. Listen, one thing just between the two of us, we won't say it to anybody, but I know that there is also a bit of a surprise, isn't there? Yes, we've written a letter to Pope Francis asking for an audience for all the young people that will be present at this school. And we certainly hope that this may become a reality. Well, we wish you the best for everything. And obviously, at this moment, those who resemble most to Jesus, baby Jesus, the youngest ones, so they're close to me, they couldn't be missing, they're truly special. So next to me there is Maria Mata, because Maria Mata, you need to tell us something. You are preparing something special for Christmas, right?
That we are doing an action which is about the people who get rid of Jesus. Instead, we want to go on the streets, and we've made little baskets with baby Jesus in, and we've made them. We get the molds, we use the plaster, It takes a few days to get them ready, and then when they're dry, we paint them and we wrap them up, and then we give them to people as a gift on the street.
You give them as a gift and you take a little offering.
Then if people give us money as a gift, we want to help people in Pakistan and Peru, and there's also a project in Africa that they're the Gen 4 have done the same action, and the money that they've collected is to help children in an orphanage.
So they will help a lot of people. But is it true that you've been also on the newspaper?
In Croatia, they put an article in the newspaper.
This is great. Really, a big clap to all of you. Look, Maria Mata, see that red light down there? You need to tell that clear. Everybody has to come and get one of the baby Jesus for all these wonderful reasons, okay? And all the best for Christmas to you. So now, Margaret, it's your turn. You've heard how many stories today, how many beautiful experiences also they come to meet the difficulties the world is going through. You personally, how are you getting ready within this context to Christmas that's coming?
I'm preparing really together with what we heard from Chiara. Christmas with those who suffer. And I think the most beautiful thing in this moment we're living now in the world, and we've heard so much news, that we can dedicate this Christmas to think of people who are suffering the most in the world. That's how I'm preparing. But the other day, I thought, well, what do I want? How would I feel today before Christmas? What would I like to say to everybody? So last night, I woke up and I thought, I want to say something deep inside, and to express myself well, for me, I try to write poetry, because sometimes you need a lot of words to say something what you're living, but with a few words in a poem, often you can say the deepest thing that you have in your heart. And so with a few words, I can say what I feel. So I want to make this prayer. It's a prayer, but it's also a commitment. Come, Lord Jesus. Hurry and come. The whole world can no longer wait. A dark night has come down. The Christmas star has disappeared from the sky. Who will guide us now to Bethlehem to meet the Prince of Peace? Who will help us to kindle in our hearts the flames of a love that burns and becomes art? It's Christmas. Come back. Come back to us, Lord Jesus. We want to welcome you like we've never done before. More than yesterday, we want to recognize you in those who suffer, in those who are poor, alone, in despair, sick and abandoned. Grant us to hear the cry of those who have no hope anymore, who no longer believe. Grant us to be people of peace. Grant us strength, grant us courage to be an echo to the angels, and like them, to announce joy, hope, peacefulness, fraternity. So, I wish you all that we can live like this. Happy Christmas to everybody. And now Jesus will also give his greeting.
I say this in Spanish for the listener, and with this beautiful, it's beautiful. This is the most beautiful poem ever. With this, I say Merry Christmas to you all. Thank you, Margaret. We really take your words as a commitment to live Christmas the whole year, to really build a great human family. And now maybe to greet us, if we stand up, and so we are closer, and we'll have an appointment for the next link up on Saturday, the 11th of March 2023 at 8 p.m. Italian time. And really, all the best wishes to all of you. 1, 2, 3.